Energize is not the best warframe arcane in my opinion. There are better arcanes, and there's so much things that has been added in the game that makes energy not a problem. First of all, it's easy to regenerate energy with the Zenurix Wellspring and its passive that grants more energy after picking up an energy orb. In addition, there are also energy mods such as Dreamer's Bond, Energy Siphon, and Energy Nexus that provides energy regeneration to your warframe. Then, there's the Helminth system that lets you subsume Nourish that also provides energy regeneration multiplier from all sources, including from mods like Hunter Adrenaline and Rage. Also, there's Arcane Steadfast that makes any caster warframe efficient. There are so many ways to maintain energy right now, and in fact, Digital Extremes added yet another energy maintenance arcane called Universal Fallout. What this arcane does is force enemies to drop universal orbs upon death when they are inflicted with radiation status effect. The percent chance is kind of low even at max level, but the status effect can apply in any sources. You can use your Sentinel with the Verglass weapon to inflict the radiation status, or you can also use a Mechanical Hound with the Synergized Prospectus to do the same. However, with the energy mods, Focus School, and possibly Nourish, if you decide to subsume it, you will have no problems with energy. And honestly, I think you'll have more fun if you optimize your build for more power. First of all, I want to talk about the new Arcane Hotshot. This can only be farmed in the new Temporal Archimedia, and what it does is provide you increased weapon critical chance per heat you inflicted using an ability. Although this is not a universal arcane, but it's really good in optimizing your critical exalted builds. Most warframes that wields exalted weapons are really powerful right now, and the increased critical chance from Arcane Hotshot does work on most exalted weapons in the game. There are cases that you can build Red Crit Mesa with the help of Archon shards, and as well as other mods and arcanes in the game. It's really a powerful arcane for optimizing build, but just be reminded that this arcane is additive to mods such as Point Strike, Pistol Gambit, or True Steel, so it would require a lot of other critical buffs compared to using something like a melee build with the Wrathful Advance Subsume skill. The arcane does work on guns though, so if you love to create powerful builds, then this arcane should be on your farming list. Speaking of providing critical chance, it's always a good option to farm Arcane Avenger that provides a flat critical chance to all weapons in the game. This could make any weapon do critical hits, including those that have minimal 5% critical chance base stats. Before, this is only farmable from Eidolon hunting, but right now, it's easier to acquire this arcane through the Arcane Dissolution system. By the way, the Void Cascade is not the only option to farm arcanes now for the Dissolution system. The new Solstice Defense in Warframe 1999 allows you to acquire lots of arcanes and as well as farm relics for Omnia Fisher missions. The next arcane that I strongly recommend is those arcanes that boost your power strength, namely Molt Augmented, Arcane Bellicose, Arcane Crepuscular, and Arcane Impetus. Molt Augmented can easily be farmed by doing Zaramon Bounty and getting pieces of it from Cavallero. Then, the other power strength arcanes are from the Warframe 1999 bounties. Like the Zaramon bounty, you can farm standings and get these from Eleanor in Holvania Mall. Honestly, once you get rid of your energy problem dilemma in the game, you'll be addictive in optimizing builds with power strength that has the Blind Rage mod. There are many fun builds that becomes broken with lots of power strength. But for now, I would just like to give you a few examples, beginning with Mirage. We all know that this Warframe got an insane weapon damage buff with her Eclipse ability. Using Molt Augmented will further push the buff of her Eclipse to insanity, and this can allow you to do damage cap easily with something like slam weapons, such as the Incarnon Magistar. In addition, power strength arcanes are really handy in not just boosting more strength in your build, but also for optimizing your setup. For example, if you want more melee damage with Purple Tau Forged Archon shards, but also want to boost your weapon buff with strength, then you can use Molt Augmented to further boost your power strength without needed red Archon shards. Also, Warframes that have natural high health values can further increase their power strength thanks to Arcane Bellicose. Take for example Chroma. With an Umbral setup paired with Heat Elemental Ward that grants increased health, the warframe can further push his armor buff values and as well as damage coming from Vex armor. Not to mention that you can add more with Molt Augmented and Red Tau Forged Archon shards. Getting 400+% power strength is really easy right now. And mind you, this is not just applicable for warframes like Chroma. There are other warframes such as Nidus or Atlas that can benefit from a high power strength build. Because of this, Orgaze farming build for warframes such as Nidus is viable right now. Instead of just flexing your insane survivability with the infested warframe, you now have the option to create a steel path farming build for him. Finally, Arcane Impetus is superb on warframes such as Varuna and Citrine. The number of statuses that these warframes can inflict is superb, that you can fully benefit from the buff of Arcane Impetus. Overall, power strength arcanes are really fun and useful in optimizing builds, and this is why I truly think that they are worth farming right now. In addition, a best arcane list won't be complete without the most popular melee arcane called Melee Influence. This arcane that grants electric status procs a 20% chance to grant a timed buff that causes melee elemental status effects to spread to enemies within range. The buff cannot have its duration refreshed. The arcane can spread all single and combined elemental, and this is great for room clearing methods. The good news is, you can still proc the effect of melee influence using the Diriga Sentinel with its Electro Pulse mod, and this allows you to mod for any elemental in your melee. The melee influence setup is great for toxin spreading, but it gets better if you can spread more like blast and even heat. Warframe abilities that can imbue single element don't combine with other elements you have in your weapon right now, and you can use this knowledge to spread more element within the area of melee influence radius. But Arcane Influence isn't the only best arcane for melees. I also love using Melee Dotty, Melee Exposure, and Melee Duplicate on my builds. Melee Dotty allows you to get more critical damage with Puncture, and this is really great when paired with the melee critical damage boost from Archon shards. This is also broken for slam builds right now, and this allows you to deal millions and even damage cap. On the other hand, Melee Exposure provides more elemental damage by giving your weapon corrosive. The corrosive elemental damage does provide huge damage boost, and it's universally good for all melee weapons. Finally, the Melee Duplicate is great for those weapons that has average critical chance, or those that can deal yellow critical hits, but has high status chance. The Arcane will duplicate hits, including those from slam attacks, and this greatly improves the damage of any melee builds. The only problem, though, is that Melee Duplicate is harder to earn compared to other melee arcanes, as it's only available from Archimedia or Netracell missions. On top of that, you'll need to be very lucky to get this arcane. I would also like to add on this list Arcane Fury and Arcane Strike. Although these are considered melee arcanes, they can only be equipped on your warframe. These are good for optimizing your pure melee builds. The Fury Arcane will give extra damage for your melee, while Arcane Strike provides attack speed. Also, there are similar arcanes that you can only equip on warframes, but works for your pistols. The best are the Arcane Pistolier and Arcane Velocity. This allows you to optimize your pistol builds. The Pistolier will give you infinite ammunition once its buff activates, but be mindful that the Incarnon charges don't work for this arcane. Meanwhile, Arcane Velocity provides a decent fire rate buff to pistols, and this is stupid if you are optimizing your Harrow build that also got a fire rate buff. Another Warframe arcane that some take for granted is the Arcane Arachne that grants 150% bonus damage for 30 seconds after a wall latch. Some don't know that the damage boost actually works with Warframe abilities, such as Styanak's Final Stand. It can boost the Warframe's 4th skill and allows you to do better slash damage and its bleed procs. Also, Arcane Ice Storm is a good arcane to have, especially if you are playing Frost, or even have a Verglass Cold setup in your arsenal. The cold procs of Verglass weapon does stack rapidly, allowing you to freeze target and get the buff from the Ice Storm arcane. The last 3 arcanes are my personal favorite right now, aside from power strength mods. These are primary and secondary Deadhead, and the secondary Fortifier Arcane. The Deadhead Arcane is really great in boosting the damage of your guns, and in my opinion, it's better than Merciless since you need fewer headshot kills to gain the maximum damage boost. Also, it provides additional headshot multiplier, which makes it really exceptional in dealing more damage to enemies. And then there's the secondary Fortifier that lets you steal overguard from Eximus units. This is a universal arcane that will grant you not just extra layer of health, but status immunity like toxin and heat status procs, or even knockdown resistance. Now there are two ways to use this arcane. One is to use a rank 1 secondary fortifier, which is applicable for solo plays. A rank 1 fortifier allows you to constantly steal overguard from an Eximus unit, as long as its overguard is not fully depleted. You can use this to take advantage of the overguard gating that grants 0.5 second invulnerability to your warframe. However, I strongly advise using the max secondary fortifier for team plays, as it's better to steal all the overguard of Eximus units, especially knowing that your teammates have setup that can clear rooms fast. So these are my favorite arcanes in the game, and what I dubbed as the best arcanes to have in the game. Like I have said, energy may be crucial for you right now, but once you have the mods and other energy sources, I am 100% sure that you'll consider these arcanes in optimizing your broken builds. By the way, before you click away, I humbly ask for your support by simply liking the video and subscribing to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you on the next one.